You think she just lost interest. You think she just needed space. But what if I told you she was testing you the entire time and you failed without even realizing it? The most dangerous tests are never announced. They don't come with instructions. They come disguised as mood shifts, delayed replies, subtle disagreements, or sudden emotional distance. And in those quiet moments, when your chest tightens and your ego whispers, "Do something," she is watching. Not your words, not your muscles, not your money. She is watching your emotional stability, your masculine frame, your ability to remain grounded when her behavior shakes your sense of control. You see, attraction isn't just about looks or charm. It's about nervous systems. It's about how your energy regulates hers. According to attachment theory, many people carry invisible wounds from childhood: fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. When a woman meets a man she's attracted to, her subconscious doesn't ask, "Is he handsome?" It asks, "Is he safe? Is he strong? Can he handle me?" And that's where the sneaky tests begin. The first test is emotional unpredictability. One day she's warm, playful, affectionate. The next day she's distant, colder, replies slower. She may cancel plans. She may sound distracted. And suddenly your mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? Is there someone else? This is where most men fail. They panic. They overtext. They demand reassurance. They become reactive, and in that reaction they reveal insecurity. Not because they're weak, but because their attachment system gets activated. The brain releases cortisol, anxiety rises, dopamine drops. You crave validation like a drug. But here's the truth, her shift wasn't random. It was a subconscious stability test. She wants to see if your emotional center depends on her approval. If your mood collapses when she withdraws, she feels unsafe. Not because she wants you cold or heartless, but because feminine attraction is wired toward grounded masculine presence. If you crumble, she feels she has to carry the emotional weight. Passing this test doesn't mean ignoring her. It means remaining calm, not mirroring her distance with hostility, not chasing validation. You respond with steady energy. You continue your life. You stay playful without being needy. And something subtle happens. Her nervous system relaxes. She feels your stability. She leans back in. The second test is the disagreement test. It often appears small. She challenges your opinion, teases your decisions, questions your plan. Maybe she says, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Maybe she lightly criticizes you in front of friends. It feels like disrespect, and your ego flares up. In that moment, she's not measuring dominance. She's measuring emotional control. Can you handle tension without exploding? Can you stand firm without becoming defensive? Can you disagree without attacking? Men who fail this test either become aggressive or submissive. They either overreact and try to win, or they immediately fold to avoid conflict. Both responses signal instability. Aggression signals emotional immaturity. Immediate submission signals lack of backbone. True masculine presence is calm assertiveness. You don't raise your voice. You don't shrink. You hold eye contact. You say, "I see your point. I still feel confident about this." No anger, no apology for existing, just grounded certainty. Psychologically, this taps into a woman's deep-seated need for polarity. Attraction thrives on tension between stability and emotional expression. When you remain centered during disagreement, dopamine spikes in her brain. Why? Because uncertainty mixed with strength creates emotional stimulation. It activates desire. But when you crumble or lash out, she feels either unsafe or bored. And boredom is the silent killer of attraction. The third test is the validation withdrawal test. This one hurts the most. In the beginning, she compliments you, laughs at your jokes, shows obvious interest. Then slowly, she pulls that validation away. Less praise, less enthusiasm, less obvious approval. Your ego starts starving. You try harder. You become funnier, more generous, more available. You unconsciously start performing. And this is where trauma bonding can form. When affection becomes inconsistent, the brain releases dopamine in unpredictable bursts. The uncertainty makes you obsess. You think you're in love, but often you're addicted to regaining validation. She may not even realize she's doing this consciously. Many women with anxious or avoidant attachment styles repeat this pattern without awareness. But the test remains the same. Will you chase approval or will you generate your own? Passing this test requires self-validation. You don't fish for compliments. You don't ask, "Are we okay?" Every time her tone shifts. You invest, but you don't beg. You give, but you don't overextend. You maintain standards. Here's the deeper truth no one tells you. These tests aren't evil games. They are subconscious survival mechanisms. Women are biologically wired to assess emotional strength because historically, emotional instability meant danger. Even today, in modern dating, the primitive brain still scans for signals of leadership, resilience and emotional containment. And let's be honest, you test too. You test loyalty, respect, desire, but her tests are often quieter, more psychological. Picture this. She doesn't text back for 6 hours. You see, she's online. Your mind spirals. You imagine betrayal, rejection, replacement. Your ego screams to send a double text, to confront, to withdraw. But instead you breathe. You recognize your attachment trigger. You continue your workout, your work, your purpose. When she finally replies, you respond calmly, not coldly. That calmness, that's what passes the test. Another scenario. She jokes, "You probably say that to every girl." It sounds playful, but there's a hidden edge. She's testing your congruence. If you over-explain, you look guilty. If you get offended, you look fragile. Instead, you smile. "If I did, they'd all be as lucky as you." Playful, grounded, unshaken. You see, masculinity isn't about dominance. It's about emotional regulation. It's about leading yourself first. When you can sit in silence without panic, when you can handle her emotions without absorbing them, when you can walk away from disrespect without drama, you communicate power without saying a word. And here's the paradox. The less you seek validation, the more she offers it. The less you fear losing her, the more she fears losing you. Because human psychology is wired to value what feels secure yet independent. But be careful. Passing these tests does not mean tolerating manipulation. If emotional withdrawal becomes chronic, if disrespect becomes consistent, if games replace communication that's not attraction, that's dysfunction. And no amount of emotional control should cost your self-respect. Healthy attraction feels intense but not chaotic. It feels magnetic but not anxiety-driven. It challenges you without breaking you. If you've ever felt confused in dating, if you've ever thought, "Why did she pull away when things were good?" If you've ever overanalyzed a text until 2 a.m., understand this. Most of the time you weren't being rejected. You were being evaluated, and the evaluation wasn't about your income or your abs. It was about your nervous system, your composure, your ability to remain centered when uncertainty appears. Real masculinity is quiet. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't collapse. It chooses. So the next time she shifts her energy, don't panic. Observe. The next time she challenges you, don't explode. Stand firm. The next time validation fades, don't perform. Stay authentic. Because when you pass these tests, something changes. Her tone softens. Her respect deepens. Her attraction grows. Not because you controlled her, but because you controlled yourself. And that's the psychological truth most men never learn. If this exposed something inside you, if you felt seen, called out, maybe even uncomfortable, that's growth. That's awareness breaking illusion. Subscribe to Heart Psychology for more truths about attraction, attachment, and the hidden dynamics no one talks about. Because the moment you understand the game beneath the surface,